And here's what's happening at Ewetopia Farms today.
What we do at our farm is we top up triplets.
If you introduce a bottle to them, it's a completely different sucking motion, so that's why we call that a top up.
The big guys will tend to bully the little ones and push them off. If I want to use a machine, I have to keep everyone in one spot.
I thought since we start with bottle babies every day that I would address how we bottle feed our lambs. I know a lot of people have had a lot of suggestions about how we should do things differently and what other people do and what would probably work better for us. I would just like to clarify that on all farms, everybody does things differently, and there are no wrong ways or right ways. Some ways are easier for sure, some ways are more difficult, but depending on how your farm is set up and the way you do things and what your goals are, you're going to be doing things differently. The first thing I'm going to address is the issue of triplets. And triplets are an issue because a mother has an udder with 2 teats. So ideally she's made to have 2 lambs. And if she has 3 lambs, she may be a heavy milker and may be able to nurse 3 lambs, but you will have 3 lambs that will never do as well as if she had 2 lambs, because instead of a 50-50 split, it's a 3-way split on the amount of milk they get. So you're going to want to make sure that you're giving your lambs extra creep and stuff like that so that maybe they can catch up to the others. But aside from the fact of the milk, because some moms are really, really good milkers and could nurse all 3 lambs, and you could get some decent lambs off them without bottle feeding them. However, like at this age, these guys are just a few days old, and right now this mom only has half an udder. So ideally she should only have 1 lamb, but she has 3. But she's also a really heavy milker. So last year she had twins and raised twins on half an udder. But by the time the lambs get older, what happens is the lambs will start to fight for feeding at the nipple. And at this young stage, like I say, they're not drinking very much volume, so they can go at her one at a time. Once they get older and smarter, and she calls them in to nurse, she's full, so the mom calls them in, what will happen is the fastest ones will get to her, latch on and hold on. And this is what happened to her originally, and is why she only has half an udder, because the lambs held on tight, didn't want to share with that 3rd lamb. And when they hold on tight, they're actually biting down, they're clamping down, and it can cause scarring and totally destroy her udder. And that's why you don't want triplets, because every lamb will do that. Once they get older, the first to the nipples are going to hold on, and if the 3rd one comes in at the same time, which they usually do, they all want to feed at the same time, because when mom calls them in, it's supper time. So the 3rd one will try knock them off. The ones that are on will say, no way, this is my meal. And by the time they're done and the 3rd one comes on, there's probably nothing there. So yeah, it's definitely not ideal. What we do at our farm is we top up triplets. By topping up, I mean I come in the pen, like I have right now, with a bottle. What I want to do is get these lambs to trust me, coming in here all the time, and because they're in a jug, I can grab them very easily, and I offer them a bottle. And
if they're a little hungry because they had to share the milk, they will take a bottle. And so I'm just topping it up. The rest of the time, they're sucking off mom. And usually, inevitably, there'll be one or two that really, really like the bottle, and the other one who says, no, I would rather have mom. So I usually end up topping up one or two, and a third one stays totally with mom. But because I leave them with mom, I don't have to worry about feeding them in the middle of the night or anything, bottles, because mom is here. She can supplement them during the night. And also, if I miss a feeding during the day or whatever, it's not critical either, because I'm always here to top them up when I'm around. So that way the lamb gets to stay with mom, and mom gets to raise the lambs. And we find that lambs that stay with moms just do better. When we let them out into the pens, mom kind of looks after them, makes sure they're okay. Lambs follow the mom, watch how she's eating and stuff like that. They just seem like better all-around sheep. I think they have confidence and just know how to deal with being a sheep. But a lot of people, when they have a triplet, they'll just pull one off and put it on a milk machine, or bottle feed them in a separate pan. And that's probably the easiest route, because topping up takes time, and maybe when they're younger you have to watch them a little more. But for us, a lot of people have said we should have a milk machine, and right now I would love to have a milk machine, because we have a lot of bottle babies right now, and it's time consuming. And with a machine, they can suck on it all day long and have little meals, whereas when I feed them, they're getting their meals at a certain time of day every day. So they're drinking a larger volume with gaps in between, which isn't as ideal. And we do things a lot differently in that we're lambing over an approximate 3-month period.
Did you like the bottle? There you go. That's good. So this lamb was able to suck overnight with his mom. This is the lamb that has decided he will take a bottle more readily than the other two. But I do it right away while they're in the jug and young, because if I leave them with mom and wait until they start showing signs of being hungry or maybe not doing as well and try to put them on a bottle, one thing you learn very quickly with sheep is that if you do wait like that, chances of them taking a bottle are really, really small. If you think you're going to have bottle babies, you should really start just feeding them a little bit like this every day, because lambs, when they're older, they get so used to the sucking on mom. If you introduce a bottle to them, it's a completely different sucking motion, and they've kind of learned that milk comes from mom, even if it's a small amount or non-existent some of the times. And some lambs will take the bottle if you give it to them at that age, but I would say by far the majority will say, I don't recognize that. And even when the milk's dripping down their mouth and stuff and they're really hungry, they just won't suck a bottle. And then you've got a real problem. So if you think you are going to end up with bottle babies, like you have triplets or above, you're going to have bottle babies, basically. Like, people will argue that the moms can raise the triplets. And like I said, the reason they shouldn't is for destroying their udder and not getting optimal growth. But so if you have the 3, I would definitely let him suck a little bit. See, he just took about 100 mils, which for a lamb his age, he's 2 days old. He would normally, like our other lambs, would probably drink twice that amount, but he's also drinking off mom. So that's why we call that a top up. And I'll grab another lamb and show you. Alright, you like some? So this lamb was going over to nurse, so I assume that he was hungry. Would you like some? And he's drinking a little bit now too. If you want him to take a bottle, it's best to get them when you know that they are hungry. But you see, he just took a little sip because he knows that I have a bottle, but he's not hungry. He got enough for mom overnight, so I let him go. And I would do that with the third one as well, just to see. And so they're only going to take a small amount. As they get older, they will drink more. But in the beginning, I'm just doing it to get them used to the different sucking, and that I have a bottle, so that when I put them out in a big group pen, they recognize me, they'll come to me and get their feed, and then they'll run back to be with mom and with the family. Most farms that have bottle machines, they are lambing in like a 1 month time frame. And so all the lambs are basically the same age. So they can go on a machine, they can have a special area, and they're all the same age, so they're drinking about the same amount. They're at the same stage of development, and they're going to be weaned at approximately the same times too. So it makes things a lot easier. And they're going to market. With us, it's a little bit different because we lamb over a 3 to 4 month period. And here's a bottle baby who came. I'll show you how smart these bottle babies get. She came from the very back of the barn, was screaming. That was all the screaming you heard. I'll feed her now since she's here. She heard me talking, so she knew I was in the barn. And this is what I mean about them recognizing you. This one has a mother in the back of the barn too. So she's a top up. And anyway, this lamb, that's all the screaming you heard in the background. But she escaped the bottle baby pen at the back. She ran down the barn. She jumped into the feeder here, and then came through the bars and jumped into the jug to get her bottle. Pretty clever little things. But anyways, you can see this lamb is going to drink this whole bottle, whereas these guys are just taking little sips. If we were on a machine, we would have to really realistically have quite a lot of machines going to address the different ages, because you can't really have super big bottle babies in with the little bottle babies. The big guys will tend to bully the little ones and push them off and stuff like that. I mean, they could share it, but it's just really awkward when they're all different ages. And most people, when they're at the machine stage, they're also weaning their bottle babies like quite young. I've heard as young as 30 days and as high as I think 50 days. Because we're doing breeding stock, we want them to grow to their full potential. Like they're just not going off for slaughter. So we tend to wean all our bottle babies at the same age we wean our nursing lambs. We figure if the nursing lambs get to stay on mom 3 months, then so should the bottle babies. They will be cut down on the amount of milk they get as they get older, because in real life, mom's milk will be easing off too by the time they get to weaning age, to the point where they get practically nothing. So we try to mimic how a mom feeds her lambs, and that way for breeding stock we get the best quality we can possibly get out of our bottle babies,
And you will see on our farm, if you stay with us, when you watch our lambs, it is pretty well impossible to tell the bottle babies from the non-bottle babies once we've weaned them all. They're in equally good condition. Another thing we do differently from some of the other barns is that you see how we move our sheep from barn to barn all the time. So they go from the jugs, they go to the family group, and then they go across the yard and to the coveralls where they are in a group of 30 and then go into a group of 60. If I have bottle babies, I basically, if I want to use a machine, I have to keep everyone in one spot. And it really just doesn't work on our farm. It's just not practical. I would probably need to have realistically 3 machines going, and at that point I'm better off just feeding a bottle. So when talking to farmers or making comments or judgments on the various farms, whatever the thing is, you really do have to consider that probably the farmer has thought about all the different scenarios, because we all want to have our workload easier and we want our sheep to be healthy. But all farms are set up slightly differently. The thing we have in common is that we have sheep, lambs, and probably right there the similarities end. I mean, at that point, we're all getting them to grow the way that works best for our farm. We're going to head back to the bottle baby pen at the back. And when I say a bottle baby pen, it's not a pen of lambs, it's a pen of mums and lambs. And people ask me about this. They've sent me messages because they have small farms and they feel like they're supposed to take their triplet lamb off. And to me, there is never a thing that you are supposed to do with your sheep. You should always do what works best for you and your lambs. And for us, we want our lambs to stay with the moms, and there's no reason you can't do that. But we do contemplate getting a milk machine every year, and I'm thinking that Arnie might try making one for next year to see how it works. To be honest, the number one problem for us and a milk machine is having a dedicated space to put it and the lambs, because at lambing time, again, we're not doing small groups. We're doing 200 to 300 sheep all at once, and at that time, space is of a premium. And like if I had the family group that I could make into my bottle baby pen, that would be perfect, but we do not have that. And it has to be near a water source, so it's very, very, very complicated for us. Things are never as easy as people think. There's a lot of planning involved in things like that, and yeah, the space is the number one consideration, because we do have a little pen up at the front of the barn separate from the other sheep, but the problem is if we had a lot of bottle babies and they're growing up to 2 months old and stuff, it's going to become overcrowded. And we definitely don't like overcrowded conditions in our sheep either. So that could be an issue as well. And then if they're over there, they're separate from the other sheep kind of, so are they going to be able to mingle in with the rest of the group? There's so many things that you have to think about when you're planning your sheep farming. So before you, I guess, make comments on, no matter whose farm it is, on how they're doing things, or thinking that they're doing it wrong or should be doing it better, you gotta really watch their videos. Like, I recommend that for new subscribers, you go back and watch from our library. Like, I've got thousands of videos. And then you can get a feel of who we are, what we're doing, what our goals are, how we raise our sheep and why, because we try to give a why for everything so that people understand why we do things the way we do, and also to understand that we're not trying to tell other people how to do their farming. This is a daily vlog which shows you how we're doing it. And if people want to copy us or get ideas from us, that's great. If it gives them ideas to think, God, I definitely don't want to do it that way, that's great too, because it's always a learning experience. And these are the first of our bottle babies. Believe it or not, they're in the weaning process now. They get 1 bottle a day, and today I started decreasing the amount of milk per day they're getting. They went from 400, now they're down to 350 mils. In a few days I'll get them to 300, and I'm going to gradually get these guys off the bottles. You can see they're in good condition. They're eating creep now, so it's time to gradually wean them off. Was that a good bottle? Little mister here is the only true 100% bottle baby. The other ones that you saw at the feeder were top-ups. And he's in great fettle, as they would say in the UK. These play boxes in this barn look a little small compared to the super boxes. I think he's going to have to retrofit all the boxes now. And you see at our farm, it's we're different than most farms because we are raising breeding stock, so we're putting probably a lot more into the individual care, and sheep comfort is extremely important. They gotta have a lot of space while they're in here. And yeah, in some countries they're making it law, like they've started with the cows, that cow comfort is very important, and their farmers are going to be penalized if they're not allowing their cows freedom and space and clean conditions and room to walk around. Don't think it's hit the sheep industry yet. If you're on pasture, you don't need to worry about that because they have plenty of space to walk around, play, have a quality of life. But in some of the confinement systems, people aren't paying attention to that, and you need equipment space, but you also need space for your sheep. One who's gonna pose on the box for us. Oh my goodness, you ripped your tag out already. That's why we double tag and tattoo. Because how does he even lose his tag in here? Oh, this must be his spot. He's king of the box. Are you king of the box? You look like king of the box. Usurper is trying to get up there. Hi, little mister. You following me again? You are such a special fellow. You are such a special boy. Over to check over on the Suffolks now. They're feeling quite pleased because they just got a new bale of straw. I was doing my salt minerals and didn't even notice why the rams or the lambs were all clustered here.
It's possible to sleep here all night.
It is possible. There's nothing better than sleeping in a barn at night.
I'm hoping they won't leave you alone.
No, they will. They are going to go to sleep. And you'll always have a nice woolly blanket. That's mine right there. Right by your hand.
Who's that?
That one.
Right here?
Yep, keep her.
Look at the stealth mode.
She's going to get a red dot on her.
Who's this one here?
That's a ram. That other one down in the center of you there, she's a nice ewe too, if that, or is that a ram or a ewe? That one, yeah. Boy or girl? What color's the tag, Arnie?
Blue.
Okay, so it's a boy.
This one here is really darn.
Yeah, I know. He's probably not a keeper, and he's a friendly one.
I don't think you can see through at night. I think these guys won't leave you alone.
Yes, you could. You lay down. You think they stay up all night? They'll all just lay down around you.
You would.
I don't know who that ram is. He's like my ewe. He's always just wanted to be a pet, but he's the nice thing about this is my favorite pen of all the pens on the whole farm. Why? Because not a single bottle baby from this pen. And that tells me that the ewes in this pen are all above average. Maybe they had more singles because these were the firstborn. We had more singles at the beginning because they're more out of season. So you'll have less bottle babies. But this is my favorite pen. I don't think I'd ever complain about sheep farming if all the sheep were like this, the ones in here. Always when I want to show something, someone walks by, but these two were just nursing off their old mom, red tag. So you can't always judge by age. You have to judge by what she produces and how she raises them, because look at these two. You guys are stocky monkeys and you've come up to be friendly. And look at the condition she's in. Fantastic condition still. Good mom.